All right, we're still looking at sections 2.1 to 2.2. The second two questions are over Venn diagrams or just using Venn diagrams to answer different types of questions. So let's look at this. It says, an engineering construction firm is currently working on power plants at 3 different sites. Let A sub I denote the event that the plant at site I is completed by the contract date. So it looks like we're kind of measuring, are they completed or not? Use the operations of unions, intersections, and complementation, which means not something. So in other words, everything else in the universe but that item, to describe each of the following events in terms of A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3, which are our 3 power plants. Draw a Venn diagram and shade the regions corresponding to each one. So we have to take this word statement and turn it into, first of all, notation, and then pick the correct Venn diagram. So at least one plant is completed by the contract date. So being completed, remember we use A1, A2, A3. Those mean that they've completed plant 1, plant 2, or plant 3. So at least one means either just 1 or 2 or all 3 is complete. So since that's very open to interpretation, in other words, very much any of the options there, that's an or statement. So we would say A1 or A2 or A3. Any of those possible combinations of 1, 2, or 3 would work. So that's going to be a union of all 3. And when you have a union of all 3, that means you're going to be shading all 3 circles completely. So that's going to be this first choice. All right, let's read the second one. Sorry, it got cut off a little bit on the page. Let me scroll down so I can see all the choices. So it says all the plants are completed by the contract date. Okay, all is very restrictive. That means we have A1 and we have A2 and we have A3. All 3 must be completed. So that's going to be an intersection because intersection is all 3 have occurred. So that is going to be just, and the intersection of all 3 is going to be a tiny little overlapping part in the middle. It wouldn't be these outer little overlapping parts because those are the overlapping parts where only 2, but not all 3 have occurred. So it's this one right here. All right, let's look at the next one. Only the plant at site 1 is completed by the contract date. So only site 1 means we have A1, but not A2 or A3. So not A2 individually, not A3 individually, or both of them, okay? So if we write that like this would be A1, but is kind of an and, so intersect with not either one of these. So A2 union A3, either one or both, and complemented. So this is normally how I would write it, but I noticed that's not one of the choices here. So we have DeMar's laws that says if you have a union or intersection in a parentheses with a complement on the outside, you can distribute, essentially, not really distributing, but we can move it inside and we flip the direction of this. So one of his rules says that a union complemented is the intersection of the 2 events complemented individually. So that choice ends up being right here. So this is A1 intersect with not A2 intersected with not A3. Now we have to be careful with this one because we're looking for A1 only, which means we can't have anything else shaded that possibly lives in any of the other circles. So this is the only portion of A1 that's not overlapping with the other 2 circles. So it's this choice. All right, exactly 1 plant is completed by the contract date. Well, that would be, and there's 3 different possibilities for this one because they didn't specify which one had to be completed. So we could have A1 completed, but, and let me erase that. I wanted to write it in the same notation we did up above. So A1, we could have that one completed, intersect with not the other 2. So union those and not them. Or we could have A2 being completed and not A1 or A3. We could have A3 completed and not A1 or A2. Remember that symbol is the not symbol. So again, we can use de Moivre's laws to distribute essentially this. This would end up being, and we've already seen this in the first one, that it's intersection, and that's supposed to be a not symbol, of the two complements. So a union complemented is the intersection of the two complements. And you could draw that out on a Venn diagram to prove that to yourself. But essentially, we're going to have this for all of those situations. So this would be A2 intersect A1 complement intersect A3 complement. This one would be A3 intersect A1 complement intersect A2 complement. And then these are connected by ors. So there's going to be a union in between them. So it's going to be this third choice. Now for the picture, we're going to be looking for those outer parts of the circles that are not overlapping anything. So it's going to be this second choice right here. I'm A1, but not the others, or I'm A2, but not the others, or I'm A3, but not the others. Because of the or, that's why we can have all three of those shaded. It's exactly this one, or exactly this one, but no overlap at all. All right, and then we have another one of these. It says either the plant at site 1 or both of the other plants are completed by the contract date. So it's an either, so that's going to be an or statement. So either A1 or both of the other ones. So A2 intersect, which would be and A3. So we have an or. So we could say A1 union. This has to be done together. So we're going to put it in parentheses, that intersection. So it's going to be this B part right here. And then as far as that would look as a picture, A1 is completely shaded, and then only the overlap of A2 and A3. And we have to include this part as well because A1 includes that entire circle. The only extra thing that's getting added in with the or is the other piece of the A2 intersect A3. So it's going to be this first choice.